What is going on, true believers? The Clarity Act is stalled, or is it? That's the question that we're asking today, because yesterday the meeting was held at the White House, and the idea here was the Trump administration asked the banks to come to the table and ready to negotiate. They asked crypto to come to the table and be ready to negotiate, and it sounds like the only team ready to negotiate was crypto. The banks came in and refused to budge on stablecoin yields, saying that in fact it will kill the banking industry because people will then put their money in stablecoins as opposed to putting their money into banks. And really this comes down to the banks not wanting to pay interest. They don't want to pay interest on your capital. They want that money for free. They don't want any mechanism for you to have an investment vehicle or platform that keeps them out of the mix. So that's what's going on right now. We're going to break all that down and more. Stick around after the jump here. We're going to cut it all into pieces and we're going to break it all down and we're going to roll it up. And I don't remember what The Rock says, and shine it and carve the boots or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the funniest thing was, that's what I just said. It's not financial advice, but I'm always right.
It's your boy Bleed. Everybody listen up. Let's get it. I'm trying to put money in your pocket, that crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. 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 I'm always right.
All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you guys. Let's talk about what's going on, and we're going to start with friend of the show and our good buddy, Terra. Terra has a breaking news story right now on exactly what was happening yesterday. So make sure you hit that like button on the way in. If you haven't already, if you've not used it, use the hype button. Hype button helps me out tremendously. Let's break it down. My camera. I'm still working on my camera. Can't get my camera to work exactly the way that I want it to. It's messing with me, messing with my head. I tell you, it's Jesus. New details from the White House stablecoin yield meeting per banking and crypto sources in the room. People on both sides are calling the meeting productive, but no compromise was reached by the end of the day. Now, if you're wondering at this point, why are the banks involved and why is crypto involved? Why is Congress not just doing what the president is asking? Well, because in many different ways, as donors, you are beholden to the people who are giving you money. So you've got people in the banking industry, you've got people in the crypto industry, and they are giving out money for your opinion to get you reelected in your cycles, if you will. So Congress wants the banks to agree. Congress wants the votes from the people on the banking committees or that are in the pocket of the banks. And then, of course, the bankers, they want the crypto people as well. They want a compromise no matter what. But the banks and the banking trades came prepared with a written set of prohibition principles, which detail what they are willing and not willing to compromise on when it comes to stablecoin rewards. One source pointed out a key concession for the banks being that any proposed exemption language in paragraph 2, because they're previously unwilling to discuss any exemptions with respect to offering rewards on a transaction-based basis at all. So they did move tiny bit, but it's very, very little. There was a heavy focus on so-called permissible activities, aka what kinds of account activity would be allowed in order for crypto firms to offer rewards. Crypto wants definitions on this to be broad. Banks want it to be narrowed. For next steps, the further discussion between the present parties are expected to happen in the coming days, but it's unclear whether the meeting of this scale will take place before the end of the month. So we don't have a deal yet, but we do have at least a tiny bit of progress happening right now. And it was a smaller, more productive meeting than the first two. And by the way, just for full disclosure, zooming out here, the people that were there were Patrick J. Witt, Paul Grewal from Coinbase, Miles Jennings of A16Z, Stu Alderati of Ripple, Josh Rosner from Paxos, Summer Mersinger from Blockchain, and G. Kim of the Crypto Council. The banks were Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo, Citibank, PNC, and US Bank, along with a couple of trade groups. Now, there were a lot more banks that were in the first meeting. Those banks are no longer involved, or it was requested by the Trump administration that everybody other than the largest banks sit this one out, that the bigger banks are going to be speaking for everybody anyway. So in the Genius Act, this is what they came to. This is what they came with on the table here. Now it does say confidential, but not my problem. No person may provide any form of financial or non-financial consideration to a payment stablecoin holder in connection with the payment of stablecoin holders' purchase, use, ownership, possession, custody, or retention of a payment stablecoin. Any proposed, this is the second paragraph, any proposed exemptions from the prohibition must be extremely limited in scope so as not to undermine the prohibition and must not drive deposit flight that would undercut Main Street lending. Okay, so what they're looking for is anything, they want it to be prohibitive for you to use your stable coins to just sit there and earn yield. They want you to use the banks to earn yield. By the way, this only applies, in my opinion, until the banks figure out a way to leach that stablecoin money out of the system to begin with. Once they've got their hands on that stablecoin, once they've got a robust system in place, things are going to change dramatically, and the banks are going to embrace everything that they're fighting against right now. They're going to embrace. All right, so let's move on here. U.S. payroll rose 130,000 in January against an estimate, two different estimates. One was 55,000, one was 65,000. We got U.S. payrolls to 130,000. And how did the market respond? Crypto dumped and continued to dump. Dow Jones started off up a couple hundred points and then gave back all of its gains immediately as the market opened. So we had a really good spike as the day was beginning, all the way up to 50,500, up 400 points on the day to start off. And now we have a cascade. And this is that, in my opinion, this is that spot where they try to trap you in. This is them getting their grubby little meat hooks into you. And crypto as well, because we're now down $88 billion as Jane Street has woken up. As a matter of fact, we joke about that, but stop me when I'm telling lies. You know what I mean? Like we had a little bit of a cascade coming down right here, and then all of a sudden it accelerated as soon as Jane Street got on the clock and started selling off onto the markets. And same thing for the Dow Jones. Again, this was just everything moving kind of in lockstep right now. Gold was surging a little bit today, up 1%. Silver was surging up a little bit more than it was right now. This is the 5-minute clock, by the way. So it was up at above 86. Now it's all kind of retracing back down right now as people are getting set for the day to make their next investment moves. But the one thing that's going to be a problem here in the market is this. U.S. payroll rises to 130,000. Unemployment held at 4.3. But, well, actually, for some estimates, it was 4.3. For others, it was 4.4. The estimate was 4.4 is that it was going to be. It ended up at 4.3. This is going to be bad for rate cuts. So if we have a robust economy, then that means that things are working. So, and it's only one factor, but it's one of the bigger factors for the Fed right now. And, we don't know yet how this is going to be. We don't have to worry about it until March anyway. Also, in the event that we do have what I think we have, which right now is Donald Trump fluffing the numbers to make himself look good because he believes that this is going to make other people think that he's awesome. Remember, the numbers, the unfluffed numbers looked really bad, and Donald Trump fired the people who put out the numbers, okay? And then put his own personal people in charge of putting out the numbers, okay? And remember, there's also major adjustments that get done down the road all of the time when we get this data. So it leaves an opportunity right there for a bit of manipulation. So if it is, I wish it wasn't. And they will consider, by the way, any adjustments in the event that that is the case. But fingers crossed. Fingers crossed that we got a strong that we get some data that doesn't look as good that will give the Fed a reason to continue to reduce the interest rates. Moving on here, Bitcoin price prediction ahead of the job report in the U.S. government shutdown. We've got all kinds of different stuff happening right here. Bitcoin price under pressure, CPI figures, and shutdown speculations affect the Bitcoin market mood. And Bitcoin has a major support at 65,000 and major resistance at 72,000. And by the way, like that's exactly what we're all kind of saying, right? We got our little range right here. That, you know, we're at 64.9, like the 65,000 right down here. I think the resistance we broke above right there to 71.5, right around 72,000. So if we were to, let's take a longer road here and say that I don't really want to because I don't think it really matters, but expanding the brand here. No, I think we're good. I think we'll just leave it where it is. You know what? Matter of fact, let's see what we got coordinates here. 65,000, 72,000. Let's just do that. All right. So we're at or near the bottom of the range right there. So if you wanted to plug that in and go for it, then, you know, yes, but I think the U.S. market right now is just reacting to the news that we don't have a Clarity Act and that we've got a great jobs report. Again, it doesn't really make sense when we have a great jobs report that the Dow Jones is starting to bottom. It could be attributed to rate cuts. It could be. But remember, the other part is when I tell you that when we get these data reports, and these data reports are what it is right now, which is something that you're looking at and you're questioning, like, you know, is the data good? Is it bad? It's being digested right now, and it could change in 24 hours. If we're seeing a dip right now, I think we're going to see an explosive move in 24 hours and some strong upside momentum. In all of the markets, we tend to be contrary. Buy the rumors, sell the news, scalping people for you know, if it looks positive, it's not really, and you end up dumping on it because you're just trying to take everybody else's money. It's PvP, we're fighting, and that's what it is. So when we look at these and we look at this data, that's what I get out of it. So U.S. job data is good. Inflows on the ETFs yesterday, 166, third day in a row. We had some nice positive inflow on the Bitcoin ETF. On the Ethereum ETF, we still had inflows, but it was down to 13 million. Still up $12 billion. Solana ETF had inflows totaling 8.4 million, putting it almost back in line with positive momentum one more time. ETF so far for me, Solana has not been successful at all. XRP in fact has been, it had another $3 million in capital inflow, $6 million in capital inflows. So did I say, is that right? No, 3 million. Had another 3 million in capital inflows, up to 1.14 billion. So Solana not really doing very well in ETFs, but everybody else thriving for the ETFs right now. Fear and Greed Index still sitting at around 11. We are still in just a bad spot here. This is not a great spot to be in. But again, if you saw my video yesterday talking about, you know, where the market's going, things like that, then, you know, you look at like your where is my coin class fear. On the CoinGlass Crypto Fear and Greed Index, this one's a pretty nice one as it lays things out in a little bit better fashion. I think we're gonna, matter of fact, let's do this one. May the other one rest in peace. So what this one does is it shows you a little bit more of how the markets are reacting. Remember, when we see something in green, that's the fear area, which means your green is your buy zone. And then neutral is where you hodl. And then red is where you sell going into greed or extreme greed. Okay, so that's what the premise is behind this. Extreme fear is 11.44% of the overall synopsis here. We've spent 333 days, or 11.4% of our time, in extreme fear. We've been sitting in extreme fear for quite a few days, but that does not stay that way. Most of the time, we're in fear, or we're neutral, or we're in green. Now, could this balance itself out and we be in extreme fear for a little while? Yes, it is entirely possible that that happens. But the market, if you look over here and you look down at days past, if you look at times past, if you look at when we get these low moves here, you might get a little bit May of 2021, lasted until July of 2021 before it changed. So you might have a couple months there. Or you could have this double bottom like you had in January of 2022, or you have this like single bottom, this slow move, and then boom, you start to get that price action moving up in the next 3 months. No matter what, when you're in extreme fear, there is a reversal on hand. Historically, that's the way that it's been. With the fear and greed index being down as much as it is right now, it stands to reason that we have most likely hit, or we are very close to, whatever local bottom we are dealing with right now. And I think that it's a local bottom. I think that Raoul Pal, when talking about the 5-year cycle instead of the 4-year cycle, the liquidity moving, and how much liquidity is actually coming into the markets, and I think it's safe to say, or it should be safe to say, that we are most likely going to see another explosive move. But nothing is going to happen, in my opinion, until the Clarity Act. I mean, that's, you know, we might see something, you know, we might see rate cuts, we might see things happen with that. We might see a little bit of a reversal, but you know, that's what we really need to see. So let's move on from there. The liquidity heat map. Again, this is very tough to figure out what the market wants to do. I mean, it's really, really difficult. On the 1 week, you can see here, it just swept down, pulled that liquidity, but we can't get above 72,000. So the way forward is pretty big. Like, let's go over here and we're gonna go to 6 month because that'll include the top. But when we look at it from this context, there's so much money sitting out here in these short positions right now. Especially the secondary local top right there. Look at the billions that's available just right in these ranges right here. One incredible surge of Bitcoin is going to start, and just an insane rally. Once we start to trigger some of these short positions that have been stacking up, once the bulls, once the selling is over, once that selling is over, it's going to get really, really, really interesting. So let's fingers crossed that it's getting ready to happen. Next up, let's look at the price on the charts right now. Dev, by the way, made an announcement. Ray Quintana is no longer with the team. He is gone. And I know he was just there in December, but he's been with the company for 7 years. Almost, I think this was 8 years. So it was time, you know, like time just ran out and it was time to move on. Tom Anderson, who originally made the deal with their secret partner, is back in charge. So he is the one communicating with the secret partner. Can't get the headset just right today. I don't know what is happening here. Anyway, Tom Anderson has taken back over control of everything in relation to Dev. He's the one that got us to this finish line to begin with, and he's the one that just said in chat, I'm going to get you over this finish line. So let me go over here. Give me 1 second here. Where are we at? All right, so where's the Dev? There we go. Boom. All right. Right up here on the, on the left of the screen. It's a very long description of what's going on. The most important part, the ones that matter to you, is right here. Ray Quintana is no longer involved with Dev as our direction has evolved. Towards the AI blockchain intersection, the path forward requires a different set of skills and focus. This direction simply wasn't a fit for Ray's skills and interests, and we wish him well in his future endeavors. We currently have 6 developers working across both platforms. Bill continues to manage DevX and DevX applications, has already started to apply AI towards refactoring efforts on the code base. A great example of how AI is accelerating. This is, by the way, because of Claude 4.3 that just got released. That's why they're pivoting so quickly and so rapidly, because this is all coming together really, really quickly. On the DevX side, I recently gave an update to the Dev ecosystem platform, which includes lending and DEX-like exchange capabilities. Those platforms are nearly finalized and available for us to leverage as we grow the ecosystem. One of the most exciting growth drivers for the Dev network, though, is the way Fias can be used to build Dev applications. The integration between DevX and Fias is an enormous step forward, allowing custom DevX applications. More broadly, AI is making software development incredibly fast. Equally important is that everything is now under a single unified group. Product, protocol, AI, financial infrastructure, and go-to-market strategy are no longer fragmented. The entire stack from DevX and DevE through Fias and AI orchestration is being driven forward by one aligned team with a single roadmap and a clear execution mandate. This enables for all-in-one offering that speaks directly to both traditional finance and enterprises. Now, that's not the part that you really cared about. This is the part that you really care about, okay? The TradFi partnership. Many of you have been asking about our previously disclosed TradFi relationship. I want to set expectations appropriately. This relationship is not dead. Over the past 12 months, we have been actively working alongside the partner technical team on implementation of the exchange, and that work has progressed throughout the year. Momentum paused when funding was not received, and we are currently in discussions to determine how best to move forward together. At the same time, we believe our new AI platform creates additional synergies that could be compelling both for this partner and for other institutional relationships. We'll share more of those as those conversations develop. I know many of you have been eager for updates on this front, and I appreciate your patience. Now, there was a discussion about raising the total supply to 2.1 billion tokens, but that is not going to happen. It's going to remain at 300 million. That's plenty of tokens. And they will be coins, by the way, by the time everything launches. So that is the update. And then one thing I've heard loud and clear from this community is you want more visibility into what's happening. Going forward, we are adjusting our communication strategy for the project as a whole. You'll be seeing a lot more regular updates with more granular descriptions of where we are headed, both on the technology and the business side with the AI platform. There are opportunities for the community to become more directly involved, which leads me to Community Contributor Program. We have heard you. Many of you want to get more involved, and now you can. If you have the time, skills, and experience, we're launching a new contributor program that gives you the opportunity to work closely with the core team. This means having a voice, getting involved hands-on, helping drive the project forward, and getting first access to the Fias platform. Whether your background is in development, AI marketing, community building, content, or something else entirely, if you're passionate about what we're building and want to contribute, we want to hear from you. So I want to close with this. We are not starting over. We're talking 9 years of development, patent technology, and deep expertise in directing with the single largest growth opportunity in blockchain. AI financial infrastructure is projected to be the fastest growing category in financial services. The industry is moving from AI experiments to enterprise-wide deployment. AI agents will need blockchain rails to transact, and we have the only blockchain with the speed, cost efficiency, security protections, and CTS capabilities that autonomous AI commerce requires. The convergence of AI and blockchain is not coming, it's here. Dev and Fias are positioned at the center of it. I think for the first time, we can be perceived as leading the pack rather than creating technology that improves where others have already been. This is an exciting time for Dev. Now, obviously, there's risk involved with any investment that you might have. But in this context here, Dev is having a big moment with their announcement. Now, the problem with that is that Ray Quintana is no longer with the company. And because Ray is no longer with the company, you did get a massive pump going into this. And then you got what you always get, which is you get this cascade of people that exit. You've got this guy right here, these people, and they sell. Just happens to be at the same time where most of this happens. But the price had pumped up to 7.5 cents just a few minutes ago. So we're getting a little bit of the same thing that's happening in the market right now. We're getting some downward pressure from Ethereum in the pairing, and some people are going to not like the announcement. But in the build up to it, it was a nice little run right there. So I suspect that long term, we'll see how this shakes out. There'll be a few people who are like, well, if something's changing, then I don't want to be part of it, or whatever the case may be. And then I think people will look at it immediately and say, hey, wait a minute. And they're going to read through the line. They're going to read between the lines, and they're going to see this is actually ready for and primed for a new level, and it looks like they're accelerating the curve, and people are going to get excited about it. So at least that's what I think is getting ready to happen. I think we're going to start seeing a little surge in the price coming up very, very soon. So that's my opinion, and we'll see what happens in the community contributor program, stuff like that. We want to get more people involved. We want to spread the word of dev, and that's the way that we're going to end up doing it, or that they're going to end up doing it. Now, it gets even worse, by the way, in retail right now. DEX volume is down to little over 6, maybe 7 billion. So we are seeing DEX volume continue to precipitously decline. What we are seeing, though, is that Solana is at $4 billion a day. So despite Solana's price, despite the struggles that are happening on Solana, Solana is still the king of retail by a long stretch. Ethereum, I suppose if you're looking at layer 2s, you're still going to call Ethereum the king. But Solana is not being denied, if you will. So, I mean, this is there's a lot of activity, a lot of money going on over on Solana. All of this price suppression cannot hold forever. Let's get into chat because, oh my God, it has been forever. And look at this. I am everywhere on this. Jesus Christ. Wait, wasn't Ray the CEO? Yes. As a matter of fact, he was. He had been there since 2018. But AI in the future and all that kind of stuff, I guess he's just not into, So the guy's been there for how many years? Sometimes it's just time to move on. You know what I mean? Like sometimes you just reach that spot where it's, you've been there, you've been doing it, you're at the finish line. I'm sure that Ray was well compensated, and I'm sure that Ray has been taken care of in every possible way. So, I mean, whatever, you know what I mean? So, oh, you know what? Let me also show you guys what I got going on today. You know what? Maybe let's do this first. Boom, 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 boom. Now, you know what? I'll just show you. Gonna get off the Bears channel. All right. Today, we got a big update. If you are interested, and by the way, it would help me out tremendously if you guys saw this. Every business needs this, because the more of you that take the time out of your busy day to watch my content, the better off I do financially. And on that one, I really need your help. So if you guys have the time today, please make sure that you hit that utility coin nobody is talking about yet. Again, if you want to hit a hype button on it, or you want to hit the like button on it, make sure that you do when it comes out. But also, I'm going to give you guys an update on where Ben Armstrong has been and exactly what's going on with Ben. I know a lot of you are big fans of Ben Armstrong, and I just want to tell you guys that he's going through some stuff right now, and Ben's going to be fine, but he's still struggling with everything that's gone on, and so I thought that it was important to give an update. The update is 17 minutes long. So, I would appreciate it if you guys want to know what's going on, that you watch it all the way through. Again, watching, completely pushes me up in the algorithm, stuff like that. But if you want an update on Ben, I'm going to give it to you today. And by the way, look, Ben's going through some stuff. He really is. And basically right now, he just needs your prayers and he needs your support. And he will be fine, ultimately. But if you're interested, that will be coming out, I think, at about 5 p.m. today. And, I guess we'll, you guys will be updated real shortly about everything's going on. So, All right, now let's get back over here and talk Bitcoin. All right, so being down $75 billion while the Dow Jones down 175 means that it's a negative outflow sort of day. However, the question is going to be really, is it going to maintain the dump status, or did we just get a bounce status on wherever we are? Because if you remember going back here, if we have an actual pivot from this range right here, then we end up going back up, right? So looking at it on the hourly, where are we? If we were drawing straws, if we were just trying to figure this out, what would we say? We would say, number one, that we want our Fibonacci from the bottom to the top. And what are we looking for? What we're looking for is a move to, you know what, that's a little bit convoluted right there. Let's break that out right there. And let's go down here and let's take the Bitcoin one that I have over here instead. That's an easier and a better Fibonacci to use. We look at the Fibonacci move right here. Zooming out just a little bit to kind of give it that flow from the bottom to the top right there. Really it's going to be this top right here. But I mean, you see that we had a complete move, and where is Bitcoin's bounce normally? 0.45. Right in between 0.45 and 0.5. Does this mean that we're about to pump? I don't think so. I'm not saying that that's the case. But look what happened here. That Fibonacci came right down to 0.5 at 65,823. They swept the range. Now, what happens when you swept the range? Then you get that bounce back. So what are we getting right now? We're getting that bounce back at this point right now to 66,300 after, again, sweeping our way down here, grabbing a little bit of liquidity, and now could this be a reversal? Well, first of all, we're still in a downward trend, so I don't know that that's going to be the case. We can't make an argument right now that there's anything bullish happening other than this potential rebound. If this potential rebound happens, then let's take this out, and then we're going to start using tea leaves for our guess here. And we're going to say we got this kind of upward trend, which is looking good. And then on the tops over here, we got this trend happening right there. So we've got this flag that's playing out. What we'd like to see is it break to the upside of it. But it's going to take some time to see if it plays out over the next couple of hours. But if it does, expect to see Bitcoin roughly around 72,000, 73,000. Yeah, if it plays out, then this 72. Yeah, so if it plays out, then you can see a nice little reversal over the next, I'm going to say for a move like that, it's not going to happen today. Or I don't think there's any reason for it to happen today. But if it were to happen, 3 or 4 days, maybe we could see a 72, 73,000 test one more time. Then we'll find out whether we're bullish. It basically is breaking above 72,000 at this point, right? That's because we've established that that's going to be the top of that range. And then over here, that's where we are. That's what we're looking for, is that move right above that 72,000. So this top right here to this top right here, we're looking for that move up into that. And we're at the bottom over here. So if you were to enter a long position, I'm not sure it's the right, look, it's very difficult right now to say that this is the right move. But if you're looking to enter, you're going to be way better served going long from this position right here, coming back up into here, than you are in a couple hours if there's a little bit of recovery coming back. So, I mean, we'll see whether it happens over the next few hours, but watch for movement there. Ethereum still breaking down, still at 1,928. I told you guys over here that I'm looking for a bounce. Like, we need to see a nice little bounce. When we didn't get that bounce because people got tired, what happened was, here we are. How many days do you get into the range? You're in the range for 3 or 4 days. People are going to get tired. So if new buyers don't step in and push the price up when you have these sweeps of these liquidity ranges, if people aren't happy with that test, and there were 3 tests, and it doesn't break out, then you're going to most likely break down. It's the sad truth of people who are investing. Again, that could change on a dime. You never know when that's, a narrative could pop There should be some major announcement for Ethereum that moves the market or something like that. But short of that, investor sentiment changes very rapidly. So when you've got a nice move, some people take their profit, which is why the dip occurs. Then new buyers are stepping in, or they're going back in for their conviction play, scooping up that dip, and then they run it up again. Then they dip it again for the profit one more time, another standard Fibonacci, and then boom, they do it again. But now it's not going higher, and the correction is steeper. Well, then the run's over. So that's the most likely scenario. Now, it could also be that, again, a nice announcement or something like that, like right here where we're talking about it, where we're circling this right here. If an announcement or something came in that was positive for the market overall, this consolidation right here becomes the support zone for which it springs and goes up. But no announcements came. We got stalling on the Clarity Act. Everything that we wanted to see crazy good that could happen, we didn't exactly get yet. Donald Trump hasn't come through with those at the moment. So that leads to dump. And here we are. So we'll see whether it maintains. I mean, we could be looking at a massive move to the upside for all I know. Look at the dip that you got over here on Solana. Like, Solana is just, like, it is catastrophic. You know what I mean? Like, it is just... Solana got brutalized. Like, man. Whew. XRP at $1.35. Again, Fibonacci says that we're probably going to get a bounce going back over here in the next couple days, back into this $1.76 to $1.91 range, and if we get lucky, to $2.14. So I would be watching for a move right here. And by the way, when you zoom out and you kind of look around, the money's coming out of everything equally. Like, you're seeing it just kind of, you're just seeing it like pop from all different sort of angles and stuff. So I think that this is just a standard liquidity, rotation. So we'll see whether the money comes back in, where the money goes, what the case may be. Gold's still coming down a little bit. Silver's still coming back down a little bit. Looks like it's good on the day, but on the last couple of hours, we're still seeing that downward pressure. That capital could rotate into crypto. So we're going to be watching for all of that. ICP, took a long position again on ICP at 235. So we'll see whether I caught lightning in a bottle on that one or not. I mean, that's... who knows what could happen, right? Anyway, we're going to take a little profit off of that. If we make a little profit off of that, and then nice. All right, back into chat. All right. Let's see here. All right, so I appreciate you guys, by the way. I just want to say that. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you are a supporter, I thank you from the bottom of my heart. You know what I mean? Now it's time for me to go. And you guys have a great day. This is, I don't know what's going to happen in this market right now. I really don't. Like, I want to be the guy that tells you exactly what's going to happen. You know what I mean? But if I did that with confidence and, if I feel confident, sometimes it's just doesn't feel right or something like that. And right now, I want to be confident, but it doesn't feel right to be confident. There's too many unknown factors that are still sitting out there. The lack of clarity in the Clarity Act, the lack of stablecoin yield that seems to be a sticking point, the fact that we probably won't get a rate cut until Kevin Warsh is in the office, which is not until May, the fact that we don't get a potential rate cut until March. There are a lot of different things working against crypto right now. Also, gold absolutely spiking. After gold spiking, silver absolutely spiking. Copper, same thing. Precious metals having a really nice rally right now. So, there's money to be made everywhere. Eventually that money comes back around to crypto, but it's really just a question right now of when does that rotation happen? And I don't know when that rotation is going to happen. There are a lot of people that are bullish on Bitcoin. There's a lot of people that are bullish on crypto, but they are being outweighed right now by the market makers. The market makers are the guys that they're the ones that scalp you. They're the ones that liquidate you when you go long or when you go short. They're the guys that do this. So, and by the way, the loudest voices in the room, going back in time, have been CZ Binance, has been Justin Sun, has been even Peter Schiff talking about gold and all those, all that kind of stuff. Some loud voices out there, and a lot of them are not very loud anymore. Take out CZ Binance, who is, obviously he went through some stuff. Take out maybe Peter Schiff, because I think I got him on mute at this point. But, used to see Justin Sun pumping everything up. You see all these guys pumping everything up, and they're not pumping things up right now. So I think a lot of people are nervous about the market, and until we get that bullish reversal, I think they don't know what to say other than just hold. Just hold and give it a little bit of time, and something good is going to happen. So that's it. That's the show. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you.